Yo, what is going on, guys? I'm bringing you a brand new YouTube video. Today we're going to be talking about how I taught myself how to use After Effects and Photoshop and how you can do the same without any cost involved. Just need to buy the software and that's it. So let's hop right into the video and I'll tell you guys how I did it myself and how you can do it as well. This video to motivate you guys so that you know you can learn any of these skills or any other skills that you want to learn, because there is a lot involved in, video editing, videography, stuff like that, digital media, digital content, Photoshop and video. Knowing those skills has an entire realm of opportunity in terms of content. You can be editing, you can be filmmaking, you can be editing graphics, you can do a lot of different stuff, social media posts, content for that, editing podcasts, editing YouTube videos. The realm is endless. And if you just know how to use Photoshop and Adobe Premiere, Final Cut Pro, whatever you use, those two skills go hand in hand. You can learn any of these skills with time, practice, and patience. And it does help if you do enjoy doing it, because when you're failing over and over again and you're trying to do it and you're failing, enjoying doing it is going to push you the extra mile. But I promise you, with a little bit of time, practice, and patience, you will learn any of these skills that I talk about today in the video. Alright, I started using Photoshop when I was about 11 or 12, and I was making gaming videos on YouTube, and I watched a ton of other YouTubers, and I really just wanted to make cool thumbnails. I just wanted to make cool thumbnails for my YouTube videos. At the time, I was just recording the video straight out, so no editing involved, but I wanted cool thumbnails, and I had no idea what I was doing. I'm 11-year-old kid playing video games, and I wanted a cool thumbnail. I could have paid someone to do it, obviously, but was I a rich kid? No. So I couldn't pay anybody on Fiverr or something. So I had to learn how to do it, and for a long time I was just making stupid thumbnails or using pictures from the game, and I just really wanted to learn how to make cool thumbnails so I could do it for my own YouTube videos as well as my friends. So that's what kind of started me on this journey of learning how to use Photoshop and graphic design, things like that. I first started out on GIMP, which is a free Photoshop kind of thing, but it's really not as powerful. If you do have the ability to get Photoshop, highly recommend that if you're gonna start learning how to do it. But GIMP works well. It does work well, and you can learn a lot on it, and you can carry those skills once you learn, and you get a little bit better. You're okay, I'll invest in an actual software like Photoshop, and you can take those skills, and they're pretty applicable to any program. So learning on GIMP is great. It's free, so that helps a lot. Photoshop nowadays is only $10 a month. Back in my day, I used to crack it, so it was free. Now it's $10 a month, which isn't too bad for just the Photoshop Lightroom combo. It's called the Photo Combo. And that's not bad for Photoshop and Lightroom. So when I first got GIMP, I would literally sit there all day long watching videos of people making stuff and people telling you how to do certain effects, and just watching tutorial after tutorial after tutorial. And with no knowledge of graphic design, I made some thumbnails like this. But eventually, and when I say that, I mean 4 years of watching, trying, failing, and failing again, and then eventually succeeding, I was able to make some stuff like this. Long story short, I watched a ton of tutorials and speed arts, and then doubled that time into me actually practicing. So if I watched 2 hours, I'd work for 4 hours trying to figure it out. And in the midst of that failing and trying stage of that 4 hours, that was the time I learned the most. Because yes, you could watch somebody do something for 2 hours. If you watch somebody do cartwheels for 2 hours, you're not going to know how to do it unless you actually try and fail and continue to do it. And that goes with the same thing. That's how I approached learning Photoshop. That's how I approach all the things I do now. And so I learned that mindset from doing Photoshop, because that was kind of the first skill I learned on my own. I was 11 or 12 and I was trying this stuff and I didn't really know how to do it. And learning, and now I've come really far in graphic design just from doing it for 7 years now or something like that, 8 years. So now all the other things I approached, when I approached After Effects, last year, almost 2 years now, was when I started using After Effects and getting into actually video editing. So I approached that the same way I approached Photoshop. I would watch people do it, I'd practice and try it on my own for a lot longer than I watched people do it, and that's when I learned. And then I would get to a point where I finished the project and it was really bad, and then I was okay, let me restart, because I learned a couple things from that. So if I restart, maybe I can try to be a little bit better. It got a little bit better. Every single project that you do, it's gonna get a little bit better. If I can find the clip, I would love to show it, because it illustrates what I'm trying to say perfectly. And that's, I was making a Yale edit, my first blotter media type of thing, glowing lines sports edit, and I was working super hard on it, and I had watched some blotter media stuff, but no one was doing it in sports. So I was watching it and I was trying to figure it out. All right, let me try to figure it out on this Yale edit. So I worked 5 hours, and I promise you it was 5 hours, because I remember when I finished and I watched it, I was like, I just wasted 5 hours of my time because this isn't even worth posting. It's terrible. I wasted 5 hours of my time, and I was like, wow, I just wasted so much time. That's how I saw it at the time. And the next time I tried it, I was like, wow, this is a lot easier because I'd already done it before. I already did it once. Now the second time was a little bit easier and a little bit faster, and then the third time was even easier. And the second and third one I ended up posting, and then I was like, oh wow, like a lot of people really like this. The fourth and fifth one were like really good. So if I find the clip, I'll post the Yale one, and you'll just see how bad it was. I don't think I have it anymore, but I think I just gave up in the middle. After 5 hours, I like watched it, and I was like, wow, this is just so bad. Then I ended up trying it again with the Sergio Salcido one that eventually blew up. So like that failing in that Yale edit for 5 hours really built the foundation for my skill set in video editing and my passion for it. I was making video edits like there was no tomorrow. Like I was grinding like 6-7 hours a day on those videos. And not as much anymore because I got a couple other things like YouTube I've been pursuing a ton, things like that. But for a while it was like video editing like 8 hours a day, and it was crazy. But that's really what built the foundation for me. Like that failing in that first video was what sent me into like, okay, now I do a lot of video. I did a video for a sports agency. You know, Dietrich Wise, I did one for him. I did one for Connor Kelly. I do a lot of stuff for Connor Kelly. I've done Sergio Salcido videos. I've done a ton of things for a ton of different people, and like I've gotten really good at videography, and I'm still learning a lot of it. Graphic design, I'm still learning, obviously. No, you can't stop learning, but you know, videography is newer for me, almost 2 years. Fucking Photoshop's like 8. The bottom line is watch and learn. Become a practitioner in whatever you're trying to learn, Photoshop and After Effects. If that's probably why I clicked on the video. Become a practitioner in whatever you're trying to learn. Do it. Practice it, try it, fail at it, and then eventually with a little bit of patience, a little bit of, you know, enjoying what you do, because that's really important. Please enjoy what you're doing. If you don't, you're just gonna burn yourself out. A little bit of patience, enjoy what you're doing, and you'll eventually succeed. I promise you. You'll learn the skills, you'll get better at it every single time you do it, and then eventually you're gonna get better at it, and that's really what's gonna motivate you to continue. Because when you fail at something and then you finally feel like you got a little bit better the next time, it's an addictive process. You want to keep getting a little bit better and a little bit better, and every single time you'll see yourself succeeding a little bit more and a little bit more, and that's really what will motivate you. That's what motivated me. It's the driving force behind that passion. All right, I want to keep getting better at this and keep succeeding, and eventually, you know, reach a really high goal. Continue to get better at what you're trying to do by practicing it. Continue watching people. I watch people on graphic design still watch them on video editing, still practice it all the time. I still fail at it all the time. It's the most important thing to do. You're not going to learn unless you do it. So thank you guys so much for making me on this video. If you really did enjoy, drop a like down below, drop a comment, subscribe for more content. Hopefully you did. And yeah, I think it's a good video from a lot of you to motivate you so that you understand you really can learn skills. And one of the most valuable skills in the world is self-teaching. If you can teach yourself a skill, teach yourself how to do something, then what can't you do? Because if you can teach yourself how to do it, the doors are endless, especially with YouTube and stuff. The opportunity is endless if you know how to teach yourself how to do something. I've gotten pretty good at it. You know, teaching myself how to do Photoshop was a really hard process. And then when I went to After Effects and videography, it was a little bit easier because I'd already done it before. I knew how to approach it. I knew how to approach that giant goal. Like, how the hell am I gonna use After Effects? You open After Effects and you've never been on it, it's really overwhelming. Try it, be patient with it. Thank you guys so much for making me on this video. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.